The name's Bond. James Bond.
Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to the Cool Kids Lunch Table Podcast with PJ and Mike. Now find yourself a seat at their table.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Cool Kids Lunch Table Podcast with PJ and Mike. I'm PJ.
And I'm Mike.
And we have a guest today. This is a returning guest. We have Brian Ruppert on, who is a filmmaker, he's a teacher, and he's the host of his own podcast, the Reviewing History podcast. And he does some work on my favorite podcast to listen to, which is Tell 'em Steve Dave. We have Brian Ruppert on, and thanks for coming back. You've heard him on our show before on the episode where we reviewed A Violent Night.
Thanks for having me, guys. I liked doing your show last year, so I'm happy to be back.
I'm glad you like doing our show. We try to make it fun for everybody. We got a lot of comments and positive feedback on that episode. So when you reached back out to come back, it was a no-brainer for us to have you back on. And so today we're going to talk about what I think is one of your favorite franchises, right? James Bond?
Is my favorite franchise.
Your favorite
Okay.
franchise. All right.
My favorite film franchise. I'm not an expert in many things, but I would say the James Bond franchise is something I feel like I'm an expert in.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have a dearth of trivia and, extensive knowledge of the franchise. I love it. I've seen every movie a million fucking times.
Okay.
He's my second favorite character in all of fiction. I've read all the Fleming books.
Wow.
I absolutely adore the franchise and the character.
Okay.
I'm happy to get any chance I can get to talk about Bond. I'm like, fuck yes. Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Perfect.
I've seen all the movies. I wouldn't call myself an expert. I don't have that much trivia, but I have seen them all. I appreciate that franchise quite a bit. So I think we're going to have a lot of good discussion, and we're going to talk about the overall, I guess, franchise. We'll talk about each Bond, some of the movies that we like, that we dislike from each Bond, and we'll just we'll go from there.
Yep. So before we start, just a couple of things for our listeners. Go back, listen to our Violent Night episode with Brian, especially for the holiday season that's coming up. And also we have a separate, shorter episode where we just interview Brian about how he's a filmmaker and his experience filmmaking. It's really great. So we have listeners who are interested in filmmaking, kind of the process and kind of what the journey that he went through making his film. It's really a good interview we had with him. But today we're talking about Bond, Mr. Bond. And what we're going to do, like PJ said, chronologically, we're going to go through each Bond era. So the Connery, the Moore, Dalton, and so on. Kind of talk about each Bond's catalog, the highs and the lows. And at the end, we're going to rank our Bonds from our least favorite to our favorite, who we think is the best. So, gentlemen, we're going to start off with, obviously, Dr. No, 1962. So, Brian, what do you think about, we'll kind of go through the catalog, but because it's the first one, we'll just start things off. Yep. What do you think about the first film that started this whole thing?
I think it changes the game for action movies. As far as film history, it's easy for us who, we're relatively the same age. We're born probably 80s, 90s, around there. And we grew up where action is already kind of established and a lot of tropes and, you've seen John McClane crawling around in vents.
Yeah.
But Doctor is a game changer for its level of violence and sex, and like a newer generation takes that for granted. But when it comes out, people are like, "Oh my God, he shot a man in cold blood! I can't believe how like brutal this is and how violent."
Yeah,
and it's
absolutely.
so cool, so stylized. It holds up today. It's not my favorite Bond movie, but just because of everything it establishes and the tone it sets, it's hard not to love it and appreciate it. I mean, is there a cooler moment that anyone has ever had in the history of movies than the introduction of James Bond at the casino table smoking a cigarette? It's like, that is, if you like, it's a cheesy line, but if you look up cool in a dictionary, that's what it is. It's him at that fucking poker table, baccarat table, smoking a cigarette.
No, I agree with that, because I think for a very long time, the cinematic definition of cool was probably the Rat Pack, but they aren't necessarily actiony or anything like that, but they have that aura, that coolness about them, where you're like, man, I want to be like these guys. And then I think the next level, the next evolution of that is James Bond. So I agree. Like when you see Dr. No for the first time, and those Rat Pack movies, they're not action packed or anything like that. It's just the aura, right? It's just their vibe. And I think when you get to James Bond now in the early 60s, and you get that action and you get the cars, the gadgets, the girls, all of that, it really, I agree with you 100%. It changes what cool is in cinema, and it revolutionizes that, because starting from that movie and now forward, everything calls back to what James Bond does to make it cool, even in movies that aren't anything like James Bond. I mean, I think Tyler Durden, his cool factor, you could trace that back to how
Oh,
Bond
yeah.
is portrayed.
Oh yeah, you could definitely see some of that. You know, the way he's standing, the cigarettes. It's
Exactly.
like you put a cigarette in someone's hand in a movie with the smoke around them, it just automatically is cool.
100%.
And
Yep.
it kind of sucks that smoking is almost gone from movies, but like just the way the light hits the smoke, it's like the perfect thing to build atmosphere and coolness around the
Exactly.
character.
Mhm.
Yeah, it really works.
And I think what also, like you said, remember this movie came out in 1962. PJ, our parents, they were born probably my parents were born in 1952. I mean, your parents
Right,
were
yep.
around the time. So
Yeah.
they were 10 years old. So like Brian said, this was mind blowing. And also 62, you had the establishment of all the classic British invasion. The Stones started in
Mhm.
62, Beatles. So you had
Yep.
British Spy, you have the British invasion.
Yeah.
So talk about culturally. I mean, just
The timing of it.
exactly the music, and that's a big thing I'm going to talk about too with all these movies too. I love the music, the theme song, so cinematic, majestic. I mean, I just love and of course I'm a guitar player. The classic, was it E major 9 chord that bring, I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
holy shit! So you heard of the Hendrix chord, and that's the James Bond chord. I mean, you
Yep.
can't play that. You can't now. It's married to that sound.
From the song.
Yeah.
I'll give you a bit of trivia. So
Sure.
Monty Norman, who composed the Bond score, actually recycled the iconic
Yes.
All right, so Monty Norman actually recycled the theme like that. He actually originally used that. I don't know, what would you call that, a riff?
Yep. Yeah.
He used it as this like musical he was writing that was kind of Indian based, and he did it on a sitar, and you could go and listen to it, and it sounds like you're listening to the Bond theme in like this Indian based musical where it's like da 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 da. Yeah, it's interesting to listen to, but it's funny that it's like recycled from like this failed musical.
Cool.
Interesting. I didn't know that. But when you say that, I can hear how it could be
Yeah.
in that sort of a film, like a Bollywood type
Yeah.
of sound. I can hear it.
Yeah.
I just never knew that. That is interesting. You were not lying when you said you were full of interesting Bond facts.
There's 25 Bond films. I think I saw 21 of them. So I saw most of them. I'm sure you guys maybe the same. Was when I was a kid. Remember 25 Days of Bond or 20 Days on
Yes.
TNT? That's
Yep.
how I watched the majority, especially obviously the older ones on TV.
Mhm.
I don't know if they were edited, blah 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 blah. Probably were, but anyway, that's how I really
Yeah.
got to know all these other movies. But obviously the Connery and all that other crap. So
Yeah.
I
Yep.
thought I should
That was
highlight it
like-
because you don't even have those. They don't even have movie marathons on TV anymore because it all went to streaming. They eliminated that, but that was a big thing back in the day.
I remember those.
Now there'll be like a Pluto channel or something, but like back
Yep.
then, like that 007 Days of Bond or the 25 Days of Bond that they would do, and it was always around now. It was always like
Yep.
between
Yeah.
November and Christmas. It was like, and like Bond just became associated with like November for me. Like it's
Yep.
like a November thing, and I absolutely would love it. And I remember like I would tape all the movies like and watch them with the commercials. So it's like I had a Bond collection of recorded off the TV Bond movies where it was like, oh, they're finally showing Living Daylights,
Yeah.
and
Right.
like I'm like, I got that one. They never played on Her Majesty's Secret Service though. I remember like to get ahead, like when I found out it existed, I had already been into Bond for like a year. I'm like, there's a Bond movie I've never heard of or seen. What is this?
Yeah.
And then I
Yep.
rented it. And I was like, this is weird.
Yeah. I've been watching Bond films for years before I knew Her Majesty's Secret Service was a thing. No one ever spoke about it. It was never on any of those marathons. It was just like a forgotten film. We'll get to that when we get to
Yeah.
the chronology. But I agree. Yeah, that was like a hidden thing. When you found out, you're like, oh my God, what is this? Is this really a James Bond movie? How can this
Yeah.
be? Yeah, I agree. And it was never on any of those 25 Days of Bonds or those marathons.
Yeah.
Ever.
Nope.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So moving right along, the next film, which I think is a sequel, would be From Russia with Love. Like I said, I haven't seen these movies
Yes.
in years.
Russia with Love is the first appearance of Blofeld, right?
Yep.
No, well, you hear his voice in Dr. No.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
This is the first time you
First
see
time you
like his
see it.
hand.
Yes,
Yeah, like you
okay.
see his hand, I think, petting the cat. And it's actually
Yeah.
Anthony Dawson, who was a character in Dr. No that
Okay.
Bond kills. They just reuse him.
Okay.
Yeah, little trivia. But I love
Yeah.
From Russia with Love. I think it might be the best or second best Bond movie. Absolutely
Really?
adore it. Yeah, they've been trying to, the train fight, I feel like Bond has been chasing trying to
Mhm.
duplicate that train fight for like 50 years, 60
Yeah.
years now. And it's a high point. And I love the briefcase. I absolutely love, like, it's a tight spy thriller.
Yes,
Yep.
it really is. And I love the thing with the cat. I think that's been something that's been referenced and parodied in so many other movies and TV shows, and just the hands thing. I mean, it always kind of gives you that Inspector Gadget vibe, right? When you never really
Yep.
see Dr. I think, and I just think, again, this is one of those movies that really shows that Bond has influenced so much of pop culture just because of those little things that became so recognizable in such a big way.
Yep, it's like at the birth of pop culture, this just gets into the conscious, and it's like
Yeah.
villain stroking a cat becomes shorthand.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you know nothing about a character, but you see that, you're instantly like, well, he's the bad guy. You just know. And it's just because of this. It's such good writing. It's such good imagery. Honestly, I would say that I think James Bond has set the blueprint for action films and spy films and just in general, good guy versus bad guy tropes. I mean, I think the blueprint was set by James Bond films. And this
Villain
movie being the
telling them
second
his
one.
plan,
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
I think it's one of my favorites is got to be Goldfinger. I
Yeah,
love everything
absolutely.
about Goldfinger. I mean,
Yep.
you have the villain Goldfinger, but you have Oddjob. Then for me, this is when obviously the girls become like the Bond girls. You
Yep.
have obviously the classic names Pussy Galore, and yo, dude, I love the theme song. This is when Shirley Bassey, she sings a couple of theme songs of
Yeah.
during the whole catalog of Bond. But dude, that opening, I love that song. Dude, I love just listening to James Bond theme songs
Yeah.
just in general. Like, God, as soon as you put them, it just gives you a mood. You know what I mean? You just want to
Absolutely.
have your own martini and have it shaken and not stirred. You know what I mean? It's just bam. Just that song just sets the tone. Just everything. You see the chick covered in gold. Oddjob, he's cracking his neck. It's
Yeah.
a cool movie, man. I mean,
I
damn.
think this is Connery's best movie out of all of his what does he have, 6 films? I personally like this one the best. I think this is his best Bond film.
I think it's a trend you'll see with a lot of Bonds where it takes 3 movies for them to like really snap into the
Yep.
role and secure it.
Yep.
And I think it's not a coincidence that Goldfinger is like Connery's done this 2 times before. He knows exactly how to play Bond. He knows
Yep.
what Bond is.
Yep.
The production is firing on all cylinders, and like this is the formula for a Bond movie. Like you look at Dr. No and you look at From Russia with Love, there's not a copy and paste to that where they've done those stories again.
Yep.
This is the copy and paste Bond movie
Yep.
where like you can mark off things and it's like, oh, when we make a Bond movie, we must have he sleeps with the woman that the villain kills, and like the checklist begins here.
That's great.
And going forward, when you have some of these movies that don't have those things in it, it almost becomes too noticeable. They're like, wait a minute, why doesn't it have this thing happening? It needs to happen.
Yeah. Question.
Yeah, Goldfinger is like perfect. It's amazing.
Yep. The next one is, I love Thunderball. First of all, Tom Jones, love that song.
Yeah.
And I wrote down my notes a few days ago, but I think maybe this is 3 in these first 6 films. 3 of them were directed by the same dude. Last name of Young.
Terrence Young.
That's it. Yep. So I can't remember if he did Thunderball, but I have that written on my side note. So maybe keep that in mind. I can't remember which ones he did. But I know there's a lot of.
If he did Dr. No, Thunderball, and From Russia with Love.
Okay. There we go. Sorry, my note was correct. Okay, cool. Yeah, I like this one. I don't know about you guys. I feel like people don't talk about it. I don't know. Maybe people don't like the
one
name
of my
Thunderball.
least favorites.
I like Thunderball.
Yeah, look, I love them all. Like, I'd rather watch a Bond movie than no Bond movie. But given the choices, this has always been at the bottom for me. And I have this internal formula in my head where I've never done the math on it. But like, I think the more water you put into a Bond movie, the worse it is.
The worse it gets. I agree with that.
It slows everything down. Like, and Thunderball, I understand when this is made, it's like part of that travelogue aspect where people aren't traveling like this and like it's a new thing and like, look, scuba diving, isn't this cool and unique? But it's like, watching it now, it doesn't do it for me. But there's definitely cool shit and good moments in it for sure. Fiona Volpe is a world-class, Bond villain, and she's a knockout and a stunner. Domino is ridiculous. Like, there's good things in the movie, but as far as one I just want to put on and have fun with, it's always towards the bottom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, legit. Mm-hmm. You Only Live Twice. I put down in my note that I didn't see this one. For some reason, I was like looking it up again. I might have had when I was a kid, but I have no recollection of it really. So I didn't rewatch all of these in preparation for this. But I really
Who has
can't
time to watch
remember.
25 movies? Yeah.
This is such a fun one. If you've never seen, like, Austin Powers is like mostly taking from this when they're doing their thing, like the volcano lair and like as far as the visual.
Okay. Now okay, and then I might have seen it. Okay, yep.
Yeah, and it's amazing in this that you would never make this today, but they have Sean Connery undergo a racial procedure that turns him into a Japanese man.
Yes.
Which consists of Sean Connery just hunching his shoulders and like he's still towering over everyone, pretending to be Japanese. It's like, I love this one. It's so campy and goofy. Like they've gotten too big.
And I always wondered, and I don't have any real back end or information on this, but I always wondered if this was sort of an inspiration and such for when they had the Punisher go through one of these things in the comic books and the Punisher became a black dude for a while. I always kind of wondered if someone watched this and they were like, well, if we can make Sean Connery an Asian guy, we can make the Punisher a black dude. And I was always curious if that was like something the writers of the comic books had in mind. And because again, I always find ways to connect James Bond to other pop culture items, and I always wondered if that was connected somehow.
The writers were too busy thinking about whether or not they could. They didn't stop to think whether or not they should.
And another thing I'll notice, by the time we get to this, the names of these movies are so great. By the time you get to You Only Live Twice, and you're listening to the names of these, you're like, man, the minute you even hear it, you're like, I gotta watch this movie. It sounds great. All of them sound great. I mean, I don't know. I think these are the best named movies out there. And I don't know if they're all based on book titles or not, but all of the names of these movies are striking and intriguing. And it really makes you want to see the movie. But I think You Only Live Twice is the first one where I'm like, man, that's like such a good name. How'd they come up with that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's that's a Fleming book. It's one of the big Fleming books. As someone who's read the books, one of the little nitpicks I have is the order they put the movies out in, where it's like, Dr. No is like in the middle of the pack as far as books, but here they're like, yeah, we're starting with this, and like it's the right call movie wise, but like when you're watching, it's like You Only Live Twice, the book. Some of these are so different than the books. It's like you could do a direct remake of You Only Live Twice, and it would be almost nothing like the movie that came out. If you just adapted the book, which is what Tarantino wanted to do later on. Like he wanted to do direct book adaptations of Fleming. But yeah,
I would love a Tarantino Bond movie.
It almost happened.
Yeah,
I know. I wish it would have.
It'd be so amazing to see. But especially looking at Japan at this time, it's 1967, I believe, when this comes out. So we're 20 years removed from World War II, and we're seeing what they've done in the past 20 years. It's like for a lot of people, this is probably the first time you're seeing a modernized Japan that like you had a war with 20 years ago, and you're like, wow, it's a major metropolitan place. It's beautiful. Holy shit, this is amazing. I actually have behind me. I have a Thunderbolt poster. Sorry, the You Only Live Twice poster is great though. It's Sean Connery in a bathtub with like Japanese women.
All right. And next is 1971's Diamonds Are Forever, another banger theme song by Shirley Bassey. I mean, total killer. I actually think Kanye West. I can't think of the song that he used. I know it's on Graduation. I believe that album. But
Diamonds Are Forever.
Oh yeah, okay. It was called that. It was called that. Okay. For some reason, I didn't think he would name it. Okay. But yeah, that's a great song too. But cool movie, and like we said before, the first Dr. No came out 62 and 71 of the Connery era ends in actually no, my timeline is off because
because next is Lazenby.
Right. Next is Lazenby.
He's 69, so I got he came out 69. So this is 71. So
I always felt like with Diamonds Are Forever, I don't think it's a bad movie. I don't think any of the Bond movies are unwatchable or anything like that, but I think Connery was a bit too old. But what I felt like with this movie is they knew the Lazenby thing didn't work out. They didn't want to start over with somebody new again, and they were like, let's just put Connery back in. But he felt too old to me in the role. I don't know if it was because he wasn't expecting to do it or anything like that. But for me, I'm like, this is just like the producer's way of keeping Bond out there without having to do another fresh restart with a new actor. And it was almost like a place filler to me when I watched this movie. I don't know if anyone else feels that way, but that's how I always saw this movie.
So I love Diamonds Are Forever. It's one that I throw on a lot. I absolutely love the henchman, Wint and Kid.
Mhm.
As a kid, I didn't realize that they're gay. It's something I understood later.
Right.
But like,
Right.
it's them being gay. There's a couple of like jokes about it, but like they're actually like a serious threat, and like they're not to be taken lightly. I think that's cool. His showdown with Blofeld is really cool in this as well. The
Yep.
song's awesome. Connery does not give a shit at all while he's making this. He doesn't want to be there. He hated You Only Live Twice. That's the reason he left the franchise. He hated making it. Being in Japan, he had already been Bond. This is his 5th time as Bond. And while he's there, he's getting swarmed by the Japanese people. And he's a big star there. Like, as big as Bond was in the States and Europe, it's even bigger in Japan. And they are hounding him everywhere he goes. And Japan has like this crazy, like rabid fan culture that like we as Americans and Europeans can't even comprehend how hard it goes. Like, you'll hear stories that are like psychotic and gross as far as fandom goes there. So Sean Connery's like getting approached on the toilet as he's like taking a crap, and like he's like, I'm done. I hate this. I want out. He was already mad after Thunderball. They put him in a pool with a real shark and didn't tell him. And suddenly there's a real shark swimming at him and he was fuming. So like he's had enough and he broke and he walks. They get Lazenby, and they wanted Lazenby to come back. They wanted to bring him back. And Lazenby got advice from he became a hippie, and he got advice from hippie people and his management that was like, Bond's old and passe. You should leave and go do like other things. Like, Bond's dated. So they're like, what are we going to do? Let's get Connery back. And they give him a ridiculous amount of money. I think at the time he was the highest paid actor on a single movie. I think it was $1 million payday. And he took that and donated it all to like some Scottish charities fund. And he really is just there just for the paycheck. And it shows. He's like dead inside.
Yeah. Yeah, and I feel that while I watch the movie, which is why this is one I don't always go back to watch again, because it's just like I said, it felt very place filler to me. But that does bring us to the George Lazenby
Right. Well,
one-time appearance as James
well,
Bond.
PJ, I want to just get this in because it's important, because those are the last of Connery's. However, Connery did have 2 other spy films in his catalog. Obviously, The Rock, and also Entrapment. I mean, those are spy films, and those are freaking cool.
He also
movies.
plays Bond again.
Yeah.
Never say never again. He comes back because there's that whole rights issue, but it's not Eon, so it's not canon. Or
exactly. When, like we said, we're getting to the Lazenby era, which came out in '69. Like I said, it seems to be the unknown known Bond. They didn't really air it. They kind of try to do the Back to the Future, kind of erase it from existence, kind of thing. And anything else on that?
I just feel like it didn't fit the vibe or the tone or what had come before, so it felt just not like we were saying, how when you see Goldfinger and it sets like a blueprint for what a Bond film has to be, and this movie comes out and it doesn't have a lot of what that movie has, you almost feel like this doesn't feel like a James Bond movie. I think looking back at it now, it watches much better than it did the first time I saw it. When you're already familiar with what James Bond is and you're just expecting more of the same, it watches way better now when you can appreciate some of the things they tried. But it does watch a little flat. The pacing is a little off for me. It does have some good action. It has a great car in it.
The car is great. The action's great. The plot is good. Diana Rigg is fantastic. It is my favorite Blofeld, Telly Savalas.
Yep.
Yeah, he's great.
And the film ends on such a unique note for a Bond movie that it's like, wow, if this was Connery, this movie would be hailed as one of the all-time greats. But because it's not Connery, it kind of just gets forgotten about. I think it's a great movie. The theme is awesome. Peter Hunt, who directed it, gets these amazing shots of I think Switzerland, the Piz Gloria, and it's a really cool movie to look at. I think it was too ahead of its time as far as filmmaking goes, because he's an editor and he's doing a lot of these jump and snap things, and it doesn't fit with how films were being made yet. And I think he's a little too ahead of the curve because he's the editor. But yeah, Lazenby as Bond is okay. He's serviceable enough. His best moment is at the end of the movie when they kill his wife. And, it's a nice Christmas movie. You can watch it every Christmas. So I usually try to.
Now we get into the Roger Moore era in 73, starting
Here's
with...
my hot take. I'm going to just right now, this is my favorite Bond era.
Interesting.
I know not a lot of people necessarily agree with that, but I love Roger Moore as James Bond.
I think it's definitely the most, I'll say, fun. There's a lot of fun to it.
That's why I like
a lot
it.
of fun.
That's yeah.
And
It's
obviously,
the
look,
Adam
another
West of Bond era.
perfect way to
is.
sum it up.
Yep.
Yeah. And then you have Live and Let Die, obviously another banger song. Obviously, McCartney, Wings, Guns N' Roses, obviously covered it later on. But Brian, I'm kind of curious for you. This sets off the Roger Moore era. What do you think about Live and Let Die? Does it set the tone, or?
I actually just watched it not too long ago, like a couple of weeks ago. I put it on as like kind of like a Halloween-y Bond, you know? But there's some really good stuff. I think it's fun. It plays with the henchmen well. I think it's one of Roger Moore's better Bond movies. Not to let the cat out of the bag, I'm not the biggest Roger Moore era fan.
Yeah, me
There's
too.
some movies I really like, but I think Bond needs a kind of cruel streak, you know? And when he has the cruel streak, I think it's pretty good, but I think it's few and far between here, and it becomes very cartoony, and it's very different than the Connery era. There's some good moments. Live and Let Die has some amazing stunts. There's always good stunts, but him walking across the crocodiles when he's in like a crocodile swamp, you have to see the behind the scenes footage of the stuntman trying it, and it's like it gets him a couple times. It's crazy.
Yeah. Then we have, which I think is a cool film. I always think of the Nintendo 64 game, The Man with the Golden Gun, because that was one of the extra levels. But hey, you have Christopher Lee in this movie.
Absolutely.
You have Knick Knack, Dude, I love the ending of this film. That kind of surprise thing with Knick Knack. I mean, thought that was a cool way to end this movie. So, a spoiler alert, but I like this movie, man. It's freaking cool.
I adore this movie. It's my favorite Roger Moore. I absolutely am gaga about this movie. I think Scaramanga is one of the coolest villains. I love that it's like this villain, he has like, they give him the big world domination plot that they give everybody, but his other motivation is so much more compelling, where it's like, I want to take on James Bond one-on-one and prove I'm the best. And like, the movie builds that in such a fun way, and like, he has this madhouse like thing, and like, it's so cool to just have like, I want to fight you one-on-one. Let's see who the best is. And it's like, whenever that comes up in something, I think it's so compelling. Like whether it's Spider-Man, or Batman, it's like, I know who you are. I know what you're about. I'm better than you. Let's throw down and prove it. It's like, that's fucking cool.
Yeah. Everyone loves a showdown. Getting called out.
Absolutely. The Golden Bullet. It's got a lot of great things going for it.
Freaking cool. The Spy Who Loved Me came out in 77. Now, Brian, you correct me if I'm wrong. I believe this is the first time we see Jaws, right?
Yeah.
So.
First time, cool. Not the last.
Yep.
This is
again, my favorite Roger Moore movie.
If you look, third movie as Bond, he understands his Bond now. He knows what he is. He knows what he's about, and he's like, yup, this is it. And it's a great performance. There's so much great shit. The song is fucking awesome by Carly Simon. Nobody does it better. That cold open with the parachute. Like, Bond was on shaky footing at the time when this came out. They needed this to be a big hit, and it blew up and was huge. And there's so many good images. You go to the pyramids. It's great.
And then we get rocket off into space with Moonraker. And then we have another classic Bond girl, classic name here. Look, Holly Goodhead. I mean, holy cow. So, I like this movie too, man. I thought it was cool.
I think it's fun.
I mean, it's cool.
Yeah.
This
is why this is movie. It is a fun movie. This is why this is my favorite era of Bond. All of these movies are just fun to watch, and I think they're the most rewatchable, because they're more almost lighthearted. So you can watch them and they're easy to watch. They're easy viewings. You're in and out with a lot of fun, some good jokes, some good spy stuff. You get some action. You get a little bit of everything. I think these are the most rewatchable of all the Bond films.
They're campy fun.
Yes.
Look, I'll love watching a Roger Moore movie anytime it's on. They're always watchable for the most part. This is a great. It's not great. Look, if we're looking at it critically, it's not a good movie.
Yeah.
But it's fucking fun. Like,
Exactly.
yeah.
Next, we have For Your Eyes Only, 81. Now we're in the 80s, guys. I just want to point that out.
We've made it to the
Yep.
80s.
For Your Eyes Only. What do you think about this? Was it for your eyes only or no eyes at all?
It's a Bond has this habit when things get too big, the next movie they try to
Make it
pare things down and get back to reality. And it's like, you look at You Only Live Twice, there's giant volcano layers and stuff, and then the next one is On Her Majesty's Secret Service. So it's like, okay, there's like nothing but radioactive lint. That's as sci-fi as we're going. And then you go to space with lasers. All right, what do we do next? For Your Eyes Only. It's like, we're telling a relatively tight spy movie. You know, there's some undercover stuff, and it's fun, and it's a good course correction. It's not one of my favorites to revisit, even though it has some fun stuff and fun characters.
Gotcha. It's a pussy. I really like this one. I remember like watching this on TV, like, oh God, I'm watching something dirty because of the name. But I remember just in the beginning of the movie, remember they have to find like a priceless egg. And as a kid, I was like, who the hell wants an egg? You know, like I didn't realize it was like this gem. I just thought it was basically like a colored Easter, like a bedazzled, you know, Easter egg. And I didn't realize it was like, oh, this is like, you know. Anyway, I like this movie.
By this,
it's kind of a weird.
I don't dislike it, but I think by the time we get to this, Roger Moore is now starting to age out of being Bond, and you can kind of tell we're gonna need a change here soon. I don't know how much more mileage we're gonna get out of Roger Moore, and I start to feel that in this movie.
Oh yeah, there's too much tread on the tires at this point. You know, it's the tires are well worn, and you know he almost didn't come back for this. I believe they screen tested James Brolin for this. You know, and then they ended up bringing Roger back, and also Sam Neill tested as well, I believe.
Wow,
really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, you could see his screen
Jurassic
test.
Park's own Sam Neill?
Yeah, you could see his screen test online. I believe it's either this or the Dalton movie, but he definitely screen tested, and James Brolin screen tested as well. But yeah, it's a little too long in the tooth, but they're in India. It's unique. I really like the henchman in this. I think he's underrated. Gobinder, I think his name is. He like crushes golf balls with his hands, and he's super strong. He has like a saw blade thing. There's some cool shit in this. There's also some really low moments in the Bond franchise, like Bond swings with a vine and does the Tarzan yell, and it's like, what are we doing?
Is this the
here?
one? Also, this one has that submarine that's actually like an alligator. Is this the one?
Yes.
And just have the famous car spin. It goes like whoop. Is this?
That's Man with the Golden Gun.
Oh, okay.
Which might be the best stunt in movie history. You can make a case to me.
Yeah, too bad that sound effect kind of kills it, but
I know.
They couldn't.
But now I love it. It's like I wouldn't want it remastered with it gone, like a Star Wars situation.
You can't do that. No, you can't do that. No, you can't do that. No, you can't do that. And then we're gonna end with Roger Moore with A View to Kill. It's a Duran Duran song. I remember Christopher Walken's in this. And it ends the Moore era. Does it end with a bang or?
I think Christopher Walken's great in this.
Christopher Walken is a great Bond villain. He's fun to watch. There's like this eugenics thing, and like there's some fun stuff. James Bond
chews up
invents
the screen.
snowboarding. Yeah.
Yep.
It's just not that good of a movie, and he's too old to be Bond at this point. It's clear, you know?
Yeah. Back to the Future came out in 1985. That movie looks so polished, and then it's like you see that movie, it's like just seems so dated. You know what I mean? It's just crazy. Yeah. But anyway, you get to the Living Daylights now. And I mean, I really like the Dalton era's two films. I like them both. But
I think Timothy Dalton was just, I don't know, the wrong place at the wrong time. He could have been so much more than he was, in my opinion. I don't rank him. Well, we'll rank our favorite Bonds later. And unfortunately for him, I think he falls low on the list. And I don't know that it's his fault, though. And it's not even that the movies are bad. It's just,
I think writing makes, I think this goes for all, I think all these actors who play these roles, I think they're all legitimate good actors. You know, I think, look, it comes down, we talked about this plenty of times, PJ, you know, when it comes to scripts, you know, you can't polish a turd. You can't, you know, no matter how good you are an actor, you can't make a script good. So he's only working the material he's got. But I really like Dalton. But the Living Daylights, I mean, it starts off with Aha song.
Yeah.
You got
I love that song.
Yo, and we didn't even talk about this, guys. The cars. Yo, he has the black Aston. Oh, I mean,
Yeah.
woo, that thing is hot, man. That's you gotta consider that car a Bond girl. I mean, that car is smoking hot.
It's one of the best Bond cars. I absolutely love
Yeah.
that fucking car.
Damn.
I think it's
Mhm.
the Vantage. The Vantage.
Yes,
But-
yeah.
Yeah, I love Timothy Dalton as Bond, and when you watch
Mhm.
interviews with him, you could see how passionate he was about it and how much he cared.
Yep.
And he's doing the Craig Bond era before
Yes.
the world is ready for the Craig
Ready
Bond
for it.
era. And
Exactly.
he's too ahead of his time, and he also got hampered by them not giving him a third movie. You know,
Yeah.
because like you need, I'm the believer. You need 3 movies to really settle in. And I think if he had gotten his third movie, now they had ridiculous ideas for his third movie. Like they want him to fight like female sex robots and shit in
Right.
one of the
Mhm.
plots. Like there's like
The
it's like Bond
fembots.
versus Terminator. Yeah, it's fucking crazy. Like I'm glad that didn't happen, but I really like his era, and I wish we got more from him. And it's unfortunate we didn't. He's hampered by a lot of things, like they're not letting him sleep with as many women because of AIDS, and like you know they're trying to make
Yeah.
him more monogamous. But there's still so much cool shit in those movies that's like they're still fun to watch.
I also think Timothy Dalton is better as a villain. I think he has a good villain streak in him. And I don't know. I think he got an unfortunate lot when it got to his role as Bond, because he could have done more, should have had the chance to do more, and he didn't. And it almost feels like, again, almost like Lazenby, where it's almost like an afterthought in the history of Bond, because he just wasn't there long enough to make his mark.
Also, have to say this: he wasn't the first choice to be James Bond at this point. They actually cast Pierce Brosnan. Pierce Brosnan was cast as Bond, and Dalton couldn't do it. And when they were starting production, NBC had Remington Steele had been
And
canceled.
Steel. Yeah.
Yeah, and then after they cast Brosnan as Bond, NBC, I believe, was like, "Oh yeah, you're not doing Bond. We're renewing Remington Steele," and they renewed it for a season, basically just to fuck him out of Bond, and that's why Dalton ended up being able to get the part,
Interesting.
which is really shitty because we could have had Brosnan for like way longer than we did, but
yeah.
you know, it's maybe one more Bond actor is not the worst thing, you know.
Yeah. Just with Living Daylights, for me, I think the movie's, I really like it. I feel like at the end it turns into the Roger Moore era when they're like his like that little like play set battle and all that. But anyway, I always thought it was crazy when they go in that pipeline, kind of like the Running Man. That he's like, that kind of freaked me out, man. I don't think I could get into one of those. Woo! It's basically getting like to the cylinder of an MRI machine, you know. And
I think they tried with this movie, like you said, it feels a little Roger Moore-y at the end. You know, they tried to appease a lot of the fans of Connery and Moore by kind of wanting to combine them and giving you both, but it didn't mesh as well as they wanted it to. He needed to be his own thing, and he never really got to do that.
Yeah, they're still kind of finding their way with this one, and like they have him join the Taliban, and like it's weird to see when you look back on it now, but it's like
Yeah.
there's some good fun shit. Like I think Necros is a really cool villain. Like there's some dark moments of like, you know, him blowing up like MI6's headquarters, and like you know, it's fun, and I think there's some good, interesting spy stuff. But you know, didn't click.
And then we get to License to Kill. I just recently saw this to get myself amped up for this interview here. Yo, guys, I just want to talk about the cast for a second. As I was watching this, I was just jumping up and down. You got obviously Timothy Dalton as Bond. You have Robert Davi. He's the guy who plays the Fratellis in the Goonies. You know, kind of has like the scars on his face from like acne back in the day. You have a very young Benicio del Toro. You know, he plays a good nut job in this movie. Then you got, for our Mortal Kombat fans, you have Shang Tsung, which is Cary Tagawa.
Excellent.
And then you also have, from Mortal Kombat, Katana. She's in it. So, I mean, holy smokes. Yo, I like this movie. This movie had crazy violence, man. One guy gets his head blown up in a pressure compartment. And
I love that it's like a revenge film.
Yeah. The first scene in the movie, I'll say Katana, make our life easy here. She just gets whipped. I was like, oh my God, this movie's violent. There's sexual violence in here. Like, people getting blown up. James Bond's making out with his best friend's newly wedded wife. I mean, this is amazing. Like, this is awesome. And sharks people getting ripped apart by sharks, and then there's a giant meat grinder at one point. I mean, I had a great time. Yeah, yes, exactly. Wayne Newton. I mean, what a cast! This has got to be one of the best castings in a Bond film ever. Holy cow! Incredible.
It's a fun movie. I like this one a lot.
Yeah.
Is this the one where he has the laser watch?
No, he doesn't have it in this one.
Does that in this one?
He has toothpaste that's basically C4, like plastic explosive, and then he has the gun.
He has a camera,
and he has a gun that only works with his like DNA and his hand grip, which is cool.
Okay.
And guys, here we go, which is crazy because it came out 89, License to Kill. 95, we finally get GoldenEye. I mean, now we enter.
Yeah, they took a bit of a hiatus.
Yeah, so Pierce Bronson. Here we go.
It was actually it was a legal battle. Bringing things back, it was a legal battle with this guy Kevin McClory, who co-wrote or gave Ian Fleming some ideas for Thunderball, which gave him some part ownership. Then he made Never Say Never Again in the 80s, and he resurfaced in 89. And basically, they were having this legal dispute over who had the Bond rights, and it took them that long to make it. At the time, it's the longest hiatus between Bonds, and it's the reason Dalton ended up not coming back. They actually asked him, do you want to come back? And he's like, no, it's been too long. I don't want to do it. Start fresh. And he walked. But there's actually one extra Dalton Bond thing that you could see, which is kind of cool. They put out a Sega Genesis game called The Duel, which is a really fun, like, if you ever play it. But he's Bond on the cover in like 93 or something.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, we start things off with GoldenEye. I love this theme song. Tina Turner.
Yep.
PJ is not a fan of U2, but U2 actually wrote the song, and then Tina Turner performed it. But I love the theme song. I just love this. I love this movie. I love GoldenEye. I think it's one of the best.
I love the video game based on this movie.
It's everything about this movie is fire on all pistons. It's directed by Martin Campbell, which we'll talk about a little bit later on because he comes back. Love this movie. I mean, everything about it. Even the gadgets. We even talk about the gadgets, guys, but I think in this movie, I know I'm going on a rant right now, but I got to get it out. I think usually with the gadgets, I always feel sometimes they kind of get in the way when Q has to come. Like, I feel like you don't even need some of those scenes. But in this movie with the pen clicking, I mean, whoa. I mean, that's a great use of using a gadget really to its best, to use it really usefully in the story. But yeah, everything about this movie kicks ass.
It's fun. I just watched the 30th release, 30th anniversary release in theaters like a couple months ago. And it holds up, man. It was so fun to see this on the big screen. And like, it's fun. Like Xenia Onatopp, how do you not love her? Sean Bean's great. Yeah, this is a fun Bond movie. And the video game, I'm of the right age like you guys. That's what makes me a Bond fan. You discover it through that game, and you're like, I got to see this movie.
Yes, and
what a debut for Brosnan. Because like you were saying before, it takes a couple of movies to get into it for them to find themselves. He like out the gate is like, I'm James Bond and I know what I'm doing and I'm the best you're going to see at this. Yep. What an amazing debut is it for a new James Bond to go in there and just have someone who embodies that role so quickly and you just feel it right away.
Yeah, he is very confident and assured. Some would say this is his best performance as Bond. Like, he's great in it. I can't say enough good things about how he is as Bond in this. You love watching him. He's cool. I consider the Brosnan era like the best of the Bond era, where it's like little elements of everyone who came before him, and it's in a pot, and you get the Brosnan era. We get a little more campiness. You get some Connery cool. Yeah. You get a little darkness of Dalton. And you get a little emotional moments like Lazenby, and it's like, boom, this perfect storm. But yeah, I love his Bond era, and I love him as Bond. And GoldenEye has a great start.
He has my favorite Bond girl coming up because he has Terry Hatcher as one of his Bond girls, and she's my favorite.
Yeah, and I gotta just talk about GoldenEye for another second here. I mean, like, iconic moments. You have the army tank, dude. Him going off in the beginning, off the dam. That whole just sick shit. They don't even do stunts like this anymore, like putting people at real risk. Just seeing with the earlier films, people just hanging off planes and boats. You really know that was like in camera. This song, even you could tell it's a stunt double. Like, whoa. And just when you find out what was it 006 kind of like, portrays them, and they're in that graveyard, It has all those big rocks, whatever it was. And I just remember I love the soundtrack too. Just like it's kind of like somewhat electronic. It's all in the game too. It's like doom. They do like that reveal. I was like, oh, kind of reminds me of Terminator 2. That kind of metal hitting on metal, like ding. Like bam, so good. And just with the video game, guys, I feel like the video game, especially the extra levels, like they have like the Moonraker level and the Golden Gun levels, that helped me like want to see those other movies. So when the Bond, 20 Days of Bond, I was like, oh shit, I'm going to see where the origin of these guys are. So that game really, I think, made new fans of the older films too. I mean, that game has tremendous impact.
Yeah, I think it's something that the Bond franchise desperately needs again. Because I don't know how many younger kids are enjoying Bond. And I think they need something like this, which maybe First Light will do, the new game. But they need something like that that's going to bring people to the franchise, like another gateway that will let people discover these movies.
Yeah, no question. But PJ was saying before, Tomorrow Never Dies. I remember seeing this movie in theaters, actually. So my brother...
I think we might have seen this in the theater at the same time. I think we might have gone together.
And Beatty was with our friend Sean was there with us. And, I like this movie. I think it's cool. You got Michelle Yeoh. Yeah, it's a cool movie, man. And I like this movie. It's cool. I think it doesn't get enough credit. People kind of like don't like the villain. I guess he wasn't as macho, maybe, but I thought it was good. You can always do. I always appreciate a nut or a suppressed nut. I always like some of those.
I think this movie, like, there's some goofy elements. Like he wants the broadcast rights in China for 100 years, where it's like he wants specifically like print media and radio. It's like, dude, just wait a couple of years, you'll have the internet. But there's so much good action. It's like a great action-packed Bond film that's just fun to watch. Terry Hatcher's great. I love Dr. Kafka when he has that whole moment with Brosnan, when Brosnan finally turns the tables. I'm just a professional doing a job. So am I. And he just coolly kills him. It's like, oh, that's one of his best moments as Bond. Tomorrow Never Dies is a fucking blast. It's the first Bond movie I saw in theaters because, I get into it from GoldenEye. Yeah, and then, now it's like, I'm into this. And my dad's like, oh, I'll bring you. And, I've seen everything from Tomorrow Never Dies on. And, I'm obsessed at this point.
Gotcha. So the question is, Brian, the world is not enough. Is the world enough for you?
This is one of my favorite Bond movies. It's my favorite Brosnan.
Wow.
It has my favorite Bond girl in the franchise, Denise Richards. I know people will shit on her acting. I know people will shit on her acting and her character. I don't care. That's not why I'm watching a Bond movie.
Exactly.
And as a teenage boy, when this comes out and Christmas Jones is there looking like Tomb Raider, I'm like, this is heaven. I love the movie. I love the plot. I love Denise Richards in this. I think it's fun. I think Brosnan is perfect in it. I love the tone it strikes. The action is a lot of fun too. I love the villain. Sophie Marceau is like a really good female. Like,
she's hot. I think she's actually hotter than Denise Richards. I mean, and if I remember correctly, I think he shoots her, right? He kills her, right? Bond?
Yep.
Yeah. I can't. I don't think there's any movie where I think he kills a woman, right? If I can recall, right? Or that
he slapped him. He slapped him around. I'm trying to think if he's killed in cold blood like that. I don't.
Yeah, I mean that was pretty big. I don't really like this movie, but I like the villain. He can't feel pain. He's another. I always love nut jobs. So, but the end starts to fall apart for me. They're in that submarine, blah blah blah, or something like that. It was.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a submarine where they gotta do the plutonium and stuff.
Yes. Yep.
And I love the moment before Bond kills the villain too. He looks at him and goes, "She's waiting for you," and he fucking. Sends the plutonium into his chest. Yeah. Oh, I love it.
Yep. I think by the time you get to this, in my opinion, once you get through to this movie, like, well, there's no one that's ever going to top Pierce Brosnan in this role. I think he is, as much as the Roger Moore era is my favorite because of how fun it is, I think Pierce Brosnan is the best Bond. He is like, for me, the benchmark that's been set is you have to be Pierce Brosnan. You'll never be as good as this. I don't know if anyone can be.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to our rankings, but I tend to agree with you, PJ.
Yeah.
But he lives to die another day in Die Another Day. Yo, I love this movie, man. Yo, Madonna, opening theme song. I like that theme song. Yo, I love the villains in this shit. I love Gustav, I don't know whatever his name. He goes from Japanese man, Chinese man, Vietnamese man, whatever it is, to that. But I love this movie. You have a young Rosamund Pike who became later on Gone Girl, played a whack job in that movie. Yeah. Yo, I love this movie. I love this movie. I love the cars in this movie. Man, just so cool.
Yeah, it's one of those movies I love. It's like a Moonraker style thing. I can
I
look at
agree
it. I
with
could be like, yes, this is
you with
dated.
that.
This is not good, but it's also fucking awesome, and I love
Yes.
it. And
Yeah.
like, it's silly, it's fun. It's like people have shit on it for years since. At the time, it was the highest grossing Bond movie. It was a
Yeah.
hit. People loved it. Same thing with Moonraker. It made a lot of money. But I think in a post 9/11 world, they really were like, well, what are we going to do next? We went so big with space lasers and invisible cars. Where do we go next? And, they do what they did.
Yeah. And you have Halle Berry in this
And
too, just
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
and with that iconic, orange, man,
Yep.
slamming.
And at this point, this is like 40 years of James Bond by the
Yep.
time we get to this movie.
Yep.
And you have to start wondering, man, how does this guy just not age? How is he still being James Bond for 40 years? And he's not a day older. I'm a big timeline guy in movies, and I always want a reason as to how these guys don't get older. And so I ask you this before we get to the Daniel Craig stuff. Do you subscribe to the theory that James Bond is just a code name and it's different people, or are they all the same person to you?
They're all the same person. It's like a floating Marvel timeline where it's like, even though Spider-Man will be like, it's 1962 in one issue, and then, they'll have a comic in 1990, and it's like, why is he not, 40 years old?
Yeah.
They're not doing that. The timeline's floating, and like there's stories with the same guy. It wouldn't make sense for a lot of things where it's like they'll directly reference James Bond's wife Tracy when it's Dalton, when it's
Right.
Brosnan, and it's like, why would they mourn the graves? And like, why would George Lazenby look through his desk at keepsakes of his time as Bond when he was Connery? I just don't subscribe to the code name theory. I think it's fun, but I just don't think there's any water there. And I'm glad, because I wouldn't want that. I like that it's just one guy,
Yeah.
I agree.
As well. So, guys, we get into our last era, the Daniel Craig era, 2006, Casino Royale, also directed by Mark Hamill, the guy who did GoldenEye. So it's interesting. He both kind of set off a new era of a new Bond. So, I saw this in theaters, guys. I loved it, man. I didn't love the theme song. I know it's Chris Cornell, I'm a big Soundgarden fan, but I didn't love the theme song. But regardless, kick-ass movie, though. Damn. Probably the best in his era,
I love this movie. It's one that, I saw it in theaters and I was like, that was a really good movie, but it's not a Bond movie, because it's
that's what I was
all those
about to say.
tropes. But after I've seen it so many times, I actually think a lot of the Bond elements are in there, but they're not accentuated or pointed out, and they're under the surface, and they're not your typical thing. Like I used to be like, this movie doesn't have a gadget, because I love gadgets. But then I thought about it, I was like, well, he does have one gadget, and it's not cool, but it's that resuscitation thing that he uses in the car, the defibrillator. It's like, well, that's his gadget in this one, and it's like, it's simple, but it's there, and like, there's a lot of little things that are Bondian, but the film is so long and spread out, and like, it's pretty accurate to the book too. Mads Mikkelsen as Le Chiffre is a great Bond villain.
I mean, classic villain. I mean, he stole the show really in that movie. I mean, holy cow. And I love Eva Green in this movie. I mean, I think you felt the love between those two. I mean, holy smokes. I mean, at one point he's licking her fingers in the blood in the shower. I mean, oh my God. I mean, probably.
So I'm going to be the contrarian here. I just don't like these movies.
Okay.
I don't feel like I think they're good movies. I don't think they're good Bond movies. We've had a similar discussion when we talk about the Batman movies, and I'm like, well, yeah, Nolan's Batman films are good films. They're not good Batman films. That's how I feel about these. These are all good movies, but none of them feel the way I want a James Bond movie.
I agree.
I'm
going to talk about that more when we do our final ranking, but I agree. Yeah. I don't really love this. This is my least favorite era, actually, but this is a freaking great movie, though. I mean, what chemistry-wise, everyone's firing all cylinders in this movie,
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, and, it took me a while to come around to it, but it was kind of after Skyfall where I went back and reassessed this movie, and I was like, it has a lot of the things that I wanted a Bond movie, just in a different way. But I do get what you're saying. It's carving its own path. It's disconnected from everything else. And, it's starting the end of an era, really. Because, after the Craig era, Eon sells it. And it's like, who knows what's next?
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
Then we get, this is basically his whole era they're all connected to each other, each film. So
Yep.
they have Quantum of Solace. I saw this in theaters. I didn't really love it. I can't remember who did the theme song, but I remember the villain. He
Jack White and Alicia Keys.
oh yeah, I'm not a big fan of Jack White.
Mhm.
His music. Neither of those two.
The theme song's terrible for this one.
I guess it's it kind of sits in the
Yeah.
rest of the movie because I think the movie's kind of boring. I know they kind of do an
I
homage to
agree.
Goldfinger. She's dipped in oil. I like that. But the girl was really pretty. The Bond girl was really pretty. She had one point.
Olga Kurylenko, yeah.
Yeah, she was in. I think was she in Oblivion? I think maybe with Cruise. Tom.
She's in Oblivion. She was she's the horrible Taskmaster in the MCU.
Oh,
Yep.
Yeah, but
Horrible.
yeah,
she's
yeah,
very
complete.
pretty. Yeah, didn't
Yeah,
like.
she is, but they completely ruined that character. She's the only Bond girl to not sleep with Bond, I believe, which makes this yeah, this makes it this is kind of the odd duck in the franchise, even more so than On Her Majesty's Secret Service. Like Bond doesn't sleep with a girl. There's a lot of like classic tropes missing. But I will say this, if you watch this back to back with Casino Royale, it works as a really nice coda and epilogue to that movie.
Yeah.
Disconnected, it doesn't connect the same way, but this is the Bond movie I probably put on the most because it's the shortest, and if I need to just kill some time and like put something on in the background, Quantum is the one I'll probably revisit the most.
Interesting. Which brings us to 2012 Skyfall. Love the theme song. One of the best.
What a great
One
song.
of the best theme
Oh.
songs, no question. I'm not the biggest Adele fan, but this song is an absolute stunner. I mean, holy cow! As soon as it comes in, he gets shot off the train, and the song clicks in. I mean, holy cow! I mean, sensational.
This is probably the best of the Craig films, I think, at least in my opinion.
It's the most classic Bond of the
Yeah.
Craig films.
Yep.
You know, it still has some modern tropes in it, like some Joker, Loki stuff, where it's like the villain wanted to get captured. It was all part of his plan, which was down to the second,
Mhm.
and like but it's so fucking fun. It's just a blast of an action movie. You know, like it. I don't know how you could watch this and not have fun. One of the original plans, I don't know if you guys know this, was at the end when he goes home, right? And they're
Yes.
talking about Skyfall. One of the original plans was they were going to confirm the codename theory, and they were going to have all the old Bond actors there in like Skyfall is a retirement home where they put all the old Bonds. So like you were going to have Connery there as an old man and Roger Moore and like all this, and all the Bonds were going to defend
Wow.
and it was going to be
Really?
like, yeah. And that was one of the original plans, and then they changed it, and then they had the role of Kincaid. And it's clear they wrote it for Sean Connery because they give Albert Finney moments where it's like when you watch it again, put your mind like old man Sean Connery in that role, and it makes sense. I've been watching The House. I was here. He shoots someone and says, "Welcome to Scotland."
Yeah.
It's clear, like they want that to be an impactful moment, and it's cool from Albert Finney. But you're gonna tell me Sean Connery saying that line as an old man in a Bond movie wouldn't be the coolest fucking
Right.
thing to ever happen? So yeah, they wanted it. This was the 50th anniversary. They wanted a big celebration. And again, this movie is a pivotal thing for Bond. I think if this movie flopped, who knows where we'd be with the franchise if they would have sold it then, you know?
I agree. I mean, Skyfall, Javier Bardem, awesome villain, dude. Everyone knows that when that one take while he's walking, when he gets introduced, the elevator opens up, he's walking. I mean, holy cow! Him with this accent, like I forgot what he goes, like physical elevation failed, and then it failed, and oh man, just woo! And he does the thing with the rats. I mean, holy cow! Yeah, just cool, man. I mean, just freaking cool, dude. And then at one point he takes his teeth out, his face is all like mutated, and I think M dies in this one, right?
Yeah,
You get
kill him.
shot. Yeah, I mean that was sick movie. Guys, I hated this next film. I hated it so much I haven't even seen No Time to Die. Spectre. I fucking hated this movie. I hated it. I just hated it. I hate this movie. It's my least favorite out of the entire franchise. It ruined it for me. I thought it was so dumb at the end where he's going through an elevator. It's like the Hall of Fame. It's like the Hall of Presidents. All the pictures are on the wall. I'm like, oh my God. They're all, I don't know. I couldn't take it, man. I totally killed it for me. Brian, how do you feel?
I love this
You're
movie.
the oh my God, Brian. How?
This is a divisive movie. It has some things that I absolutely hate. I hate them doing the basically the Austin Powers plot with the adopted stepbrother.
Yes.
Blofeld and him
I
are related
forgot
in that
about
way.
that
I think
part. And you have
Yep.
what's his name? Christoph Waltz is in. He's an awesome actor, but he couldn't save this film
Yeah.
either, man.
I was going to say the same thing. You get a guy like Christoph Waltz, and then you still put out this movie. How can you not give him something better to do?
Oh my Lord in heavens!
Yeah, and they tried to do the thing with which again, like the Bond film starts as innovators, but then they become like copycats. And this is such like they're copying. I don't know why you would want to copy this movie, but they're copying Star Trek Into Darkness, where it's like it's not Blofeld, it's not Blofeld. He's a
Right.
guy named Oberhauser, and it's like I am Blofeld. It's like
Yeah.
we all saw it coming. It's
It's
like
like you didn't fool us. Exactly. You didn't fool us. We knew what this was going to be. You're not setting me up for a big reveal that I'm going to care about because they already know. But I feel that way about this whole era.
Yeah,
This movie defines how I feel about the whole era to me, where I'm like, who gives a shit? That's how I feel. Yeah.
I think the movie. I enjoy watching it. I think there's some cool Bond stuff. Like I love the chase he has with Batista. I think Batista is his only good henchman. He's the only.
yes,
Well,
exactly.
he gets another good henchman in No Time to Die. But this is, at least he finally has a henchman. They have a cool fight. He has like that hook thing where he puts his fingers in people's eyes, like he has a gimmick. There's some cool action in this. It's the biggest explosion at the time ever on film when they blow up that Spectre compound. There's some really cool stuff. There's some fun stuff. There's little Bond elements like at the beginning when that he's on like the roof of that building and it blows up and he lands on a couch. It's like that's like a Roger Moore beat you would see.
Yeah.
There's little touches that I enjoy in this one. I have a lot of fun with it. I love his white suit that he wears. I think it worked setting up a storyline. They wanted this to be part one of On Her Majesty's Secret Service. They were trying to set it up. And I think that they didn't follow through with this being part two of what it should have been, Because No Time to Die is a big letdown.
Let's just say No Time to Die. I couldn't wait for it to die. So I'm going to see it, though. I haven't gotten a chance to watch it on streaming. But No Time to Die, the last shebang. I believe James Bond dies in this one. A spoiler alert. But Brian or PJ, have you seen it? I know Brian definitely saw it, obviously. So
I saw it. I like Rami Malek. I think he's a good actor. I think he does a
I
good
forgot he
job.
was in this. Yeah.
Being a villain or whatever. But again, at this point, by the time we got to this, I'm kind of like, I don't care about anything that's happening in James Bond anymore. This era kills the fun for me, and I just kind of check out. I think I've seen it, but it's something I just have on the background when I watched it. It wasn't like I sat down and wanted to focus on it. I watched it when I put this movie on to watch it the first time, and the only time was like out of a sense of responsibility. Like, how could I not see it through? I have to at least give it. I have to let it end. I can't not let the last 25 million years worth of movies. What are we on? 50 years of Bond, or whatever it is by the time we get to this, maybe more. I can't not watch it, so I had to, but I got nothing about it.
I hate it. I absolutely
All
hate
right.
this movie. It's like, look, Bond is supposed to be like when you break the character down, he's a blunt killing instrument. We get that. But he's also like the male fantasy. It's like we want to watch
Yeah.
the guy who always wins, who kicks everyone's ass, who always gets the chick. And it's like in this, he doesn't get the chick. He fails and you fucking kill him. And it's like, I never wanted to see Bond die on screen. I had no desire in me. No part of me was like, I want to see James Bond die. And it's like, when you do that, you have to, like, I love James Bond. I should be weeping in the theater. Like, I love that character so much. He means so much to me. If you're going to kill him, it should be affecting me. I shouldn't be sitting there saying this shit. It's like,
I agree.
it's what I really think this was, especially in hindsight. I think this was the Broccolis blowing up their toys, getting rid of them, saying, we don't want to play with this anymore. And we're destroying. It's symbolic of them giving the franchise away, blowing up
Damn,
their
yeah.
father's franchise that he built. It's like, we made this, we made all these monies. We're done with playing the toys. We're going to kill Bond off rather than continue it. And that's it. It's the end. And like, it's the false promise of like what this movie should have been. It's like you set up Spectre and you set up all the elements for On Her Majesty's Secret Service. And in this, they use the On Her Majesty's theme. They want this to connect to On Her Majesty's, but they didn't like, why not kill Bond's wife at the beginning and do like the cool revenge story that we got in the book. And it's like, that should have been the cold open to this movie. And like, there's some good shit. There's some cool moments. Like James Bond kicks some ass in this, but like they kill everybody off. It's like the fucking Hamlet of James Bond movies. It's just so depressing. It's the one I really never want to revisit.
I feel when I watch the end of this movie the same way I felt when I watched the end of The Dark Knight Rises, where I'm just like, that's just it. Like Batman just retires and he's not Batman anymore. He feels okay. And in this one, you're like, that's it. James Bond just dies and we're okay with this. Like, this is it.
It should be flipped. Like Batman should be sacrificing himself, and James Bond should be like, "Oh, I've done my duty for king and country or queen and country, and now I could be a family man." It's like, it
just the ending's just like it just doesn't fit the character. It just doesn't work. And I think it was a sad way to end all that history of James Bond.
We're gonna just start from our least favorite, Bond.
Yeah.
We'll go each, and we'll work our way up. Obviously, we'll do process. But our number ones are by process of elimination. But Brian, set us off.
My least favorite, Roger Moore.
Roger Moore. Okay. PJ, what about you?
Daniel Craig.
I agree with PJ. Daniel Craig, like you guys said, he was really a shell of Bond, but my least favorite. Brian?
Next, I gotta put Lazenby just because he only had the one. It's not his fault, but there's just not the body of work.
Yep. I agree. I have Lazenby next.
Agreed.
Also.
Our next one?
I'm going to put Timothy Dalton, middle of the pack. He's really good, but there's only 2 movies. So
I have Dalton in that same spot.
I have Roger Moore, just to back up my claim, just because I thought he was great. I enjoyed those movies. I just always felt I never really wanted to be him. I don't want to be Roger Moore. I always felt he'd be better. I feel like he'd be good, like a partner to James Bond. He's not a goofy sidekick, just a partner he sings every once in a while, help him do shit.
Yep.
But anyway, that's how I feel about him. What do you got next, Brian?
I got Pierce Brosnan. I love his Bond. I love his era. He's great. He's just not the other 2 for me. That's the problem.
Fair enough. I have Sean Connery next.
Okay. I have Dalton. I think he's very underrated. Better script, he would have been better. I think he has the look. I think physically he has the best look. Like, the looking dude, he really looks like that spy agent. And PDT, you keep talking about Christopher Nolan. That's his favorite Bond. And if you look at movies like Inception, Batman, it is Timothy Dalton, Even Memento, that's really Dalton, all that. Now getting to our top 2. My calculations are correct. Brian, who do you got?
My number 2 is Daniel Craig. There were points where he could have been number 1. I loved him. I thought he was a very Fleming accurate Bond, but that final movie really just destroyed his legacy. Like, there are points where I would have had him at number 1, but after No Time to Die, it's just such a sour taste. And I will say, there's a thing with Bond actors when you kind of look at the general consensus around them. When they're Bond, people will say they're the best Bond, and they're up there with Connery, and they love them. Once the role is done and we're like in between Bonds or there's the new Bond, then what happens is people start to say they didn't like that era, they hate it, and it kind of becomes like a thing where it's like people shat on the Brosnan era for a long time, and then when you get far enough away from it and you're like a Bond removed, people go back and like the Brosnan era was great. And it's kind of just this thing that kind of happens in Bond discourse. So, I'm conscious of it, and I'm trying to not just torpedo the whole era, but I really hate No Time to Die so much.
Yeah. BJ, who do you have?
For my number 2, I have Roger Moore.
Wow. Okay. I had Connery, class, charisma, the whole shebang. And then what's your number 1, Brian?
My number 1 is Sean Connery, the OG, the coolest motherfucker ever on film. Love his Bond. Like, it's perfect. I can watch a Connery Bond any day, even when he doesn't give a shit.
Yeah. I agree with that. Yeah. TJ, who do you got?
And my number 1 is Pierce Brosnan.
Yep, me too. I said, for me, Pierce hits all the check boxes.
Absolutely.
He's handsome. He just has the vibe. I think he's the most balanced. And most of all, I think it's the most important thing of all the guys that separates him from the rest of them. I love his voice. His voice, he speaks clearly. He has a zip to it. He has the best voice. If he just narrated a book of Bond, I will love it. He has I think voice makes a huge difference. We talk about Batman. Keaton's got the best voice of all the Batmans. I mean, Spider-Man. I mean, I think it goes to Tobey Maguire, or maybe the guy Brady, the Brady Bunch guy. I can't think of his name, but voice makes a huge difference, and I love Pierce Brosnan's voice. as Bond. So, but gentlemen, before we wrap up, rapid fire fast, who do we think is going to play the next Bond? Do we have any people who we would like or we think was going to be,
My,
cast?
I think we're not even going to know the actor who it's going to be. It's going to be some guy that's like been like side roles and things. It's not going to be a big name. Who I want it to be is Aaron Taylor Johnson, but it will not be
Really?
him.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not going to be anybody that we know. We're all going to be like, who's that guy? And then we're all going to have to like look up his body of work. That's
Well, Daniel Craig was kind of like that. I mean, he was big,
Yeah.
but that superstar kind of level. Okay.
I agree with the Aaron Taylor Johnson thing. I would have wanted to see also. I saw that online at one point. I'm like, well, that's perfect. And I started thinking about it. I'm like, he would do a really great job. I don't know who it's going to be. I think you're right. It's probably not anyone we're going to expect. I hope it's not someone like a Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah,
I really don't want to see that. If this was maybe 10 years ago, I would have loved to see someone like an Idris Elba, but I just think he's too old at this point to do it. So yeah, I think it will be someone we don't know, but it would be cool if it was Johnson.
I don't
yeah.
want Johnson. I think he'd be better as a villain. See him in the movie Nocturnal Animals, and you'll see why.
that movie's great.
That movie's intense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who I don't even know and I heard Henry Cavill. I don't know. I'd rather have an unknown, honestly. But what I do want though is a time period. I don't want Bond now. I don't want Bond with an iPhone.
no.
I want Bond and like take place in the 70s. I know right now the 80s is a big deal. I want a time period. I do not want Bond with a cell phone.
I agree with that.
I
almost want them to do a Fantastic Four sort of a situation where it's a time period where it's set in the past, but it's also futuristic at the same time. Because this way it makes sense with the gadgetry and all that, but also sets it apart.
Yeah.
I actually couldn't disagree more. I absolutely hate the idea of going backwards with Bond, because I think one of the cool things with Bond is that each one is an encapsulation of the modern era, and we see modern clothing and modern things, and like I think you're going to really cut off Bond from the main world if you're dating it permanently in a retro era. And it's like, yeah, I want to see like what they do with the modern era, like what story they're going to tell. It's like, I don't know. I've seen 60s Bonds and they were accurate because they were in the 60s. I don't need to see 2022 version of the 60s. You know what I mean? Or 2026.
You make a very valid point with keeping with the times. It's a great point. I just feel then you have to make it somehow fun, and they have to really decrease the gadgetry, and I don't know.
I see that's kind of where I feel
know.
too. I don't know
I don't
that.
know.
I think we're in such a modern world.
Yeah,
at
it's gonna
this
feel
point
like a
where it
very
doesn't-
Christopher. You can't. I don't know. It's gonna be. You have to make it fun. You have to go. I don't want to say go the Marvel way, and that campy and
No.
cheesy, and that kind of. I don't want comedy in these films like that.
I think
but-
we're already so modern that like, what's the gadget you're going to give him
But
that
just
I
the
can't
tone,
just go to the Apple
The
store
tone. I
and
don't know
buy?
what tone you're gonna do. Like, what's the spy element? You know, like
I think the Mission Impossible franchise has to be your blueprint, and that's where you have to start from. And, you know, you have to have big stunts. You have to do that stuff. As far as gadgets, you know, you could have the souped up car and that. I think you need like he should definitely have a cell phone, but the cell phone should like shoot a dart out or something, or his stylus like is like a secret weapon. You know, like I don't know. I feel like his stylus is throwing knives. I think there's things you could do to make it fun and modern. I just think dating your Bond permanently really breaks the chain of continuity of these 60 years of films where they've been contemporary.
That's I guess for me then, maybe PJ, maybe you might agree with this too. I think if you're gonna do a modern day Bond, you have to scale it down. I don't want him going to 7 different countries. I don't want him on top of a giant satellite dish. I want him maybe going against the mob. Have him do it undercover with the Yakuza in like Japan. You know, like make it.
I think it's going to be an origin of Bond sort of movie that we're going to get. Yeah.
They're doing Origin again. It's like he may not even be 007 in it. Like it may be him in like Military Academy. Yeah, I'm really worried about what Amazon is going to do with this. You know, because they don't care. It's just another IP for them. And,
right.
You know, but I'm very, very nervous. I like Denny Villanueva. He says he's a Bond fan. We'll see. That's all we could do. We'll see. And casting.
All we could do is wait and see. Yep.
Yeah, and when we find out who Bond is, you know, supposedly we'll know. But it's not coming out till like 2028. So,
well, when that comes out, we'll have you do an episode with it.
You're gonna be back on. You'll be back
But,
on before then, but you'll definitely be back on in 2028.
But Brian, fantastic stuff, man. You were definitely a Bond aficionado and expert, no question. But for our listeners, where can they follow you? And yeah, anything else you would like to?
Yeah, guys, first of all, thanks for having me. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So the reason I'm kind of doing my little promo tour right now, I'm promoting a specific project on bandcamp.com on Black Friday at midnight. My podcast, Reviewing History, we're dropping our Christmas pod where we play a bunch of Christmas themed games and have fun. We also have a bonus pod on the album where we're talking about Gremlins. It's a lot of fun. We're hanging out. We're telling jokes, Christmas stories. If you listen to the podcast, tell them Steve Dave. It's a ripoff of their Christmas pods with us and our cast. It's a lot of fun. I love doing it. It's all horror themed this year. It's called A Very Shining Christmas. I have a blast with it. So check that out. You can also follow my podcast anywhere you get your pods, Reviewing History. We go through historical movies. We break it down. We tell you what's real and fake in them as we make dick and fart jokes. It's a lot of fun. I love it. We also have a Patreon if you want to check that out with all sorts of bonus content. And I list everything we've done on there. So if there's something that catches your eye, you're free to check that out. Patreon.com/reviewing history. You can follow me personally on all social media at Brian Ruppert. That's with 2 P's. Follow me on Letterboxd. I rank review every single movie I watch, even the ones in my personal life. Thank you guys so much. See you next time. Bandcamp.com/reviewing history.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks so much. And guys, same time, same table.
Have a good one.
See you guys.
Yep.
Boys and girls, lunchtime is over. For more information, visit their website at coolkidslunchtable.podbean.com. Follow the boys on all social media platforms. Just search Cool Kids Lunch Table Podcast. Now get to class before you get detention.